All right, so if I wanted to make an artboard for my planning so that they're actual pages, I'm going to click over here. All right, it's the little icon above the magnifying glass, and I can click and drag to make an artboard, and then I can come up here in my property inspector and make sure that the sizes are correct there. So 8.5, 11. I believe my Google drawing was more landscape, so I can change that, but so this would be my planning, and let's just go, while we're doing that, I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and I can even search through the drive and filter by drawings. All right, if you did use Google Drawings to make your planning. All right, so where's the one created by me? I have everybody else's shared with me. Actually, I think I can filter this. Can I add a search term here? Let's try this again. Owned by me and is a type of a Google drawing. All right, let's try that. Company, look at that, came right to the top. All right, so if you have a lot of documents, those search terms are good to use. All right, so a couple ways, yes, and this is landscape. So I could download this as a JPEG, all right, which you're going to need at some point anyway, or we can use the snipping tool also to get this planning document in here, all right? So I'm just going to basically take a picture of this so I can highlight it, say edit copy, and then in Illustrator I should be able to paste. Yep. So my size is a little off. I could scale this down, or I could go back to my artboard tool, and on this one I can now change it to just switch the units around. So instead of 11 tall, it's 11 wide, 8.5. All right. So now I have my artboard here, and then I would resize my planning to fit in there. So we're documenting the whole progress here, right? And so that would be my first artboard, which I'm looking at. If I go back, and I'm going to try to reference and tell you why I'm doing this. All right, so that's artboard number 1. Contains your planning. That's all that's in there. Your second board is going to create the 3 versions of the logo. All right, so as I'm working here, you know, I would have these 3 and try to make them, you know, basically the same size. Oh my God. Try to get like an equal spacing or something so that you have a nice presentation of that. So those would be my artboard tool and artboard number 2. So it's going to take one of these designs here, and you're experimenting with 3 variations of it. All right, you're actually creating it in Illustrator, and then from that we're going to make our final artboard. All right, so, and actually, as I said, it should have your company name in there. All right, if you do type on path, I'll give you an extra 5 points. So I think like Julia's camera, where we had the text going around it, was an example of that. All right, so if you do need some help doing that, just let me know when you get to it, and I'll certainly help you with that. There should be, as I said, the 3 different logos, the same size and symmetrically placed. So just try to have a nice presentation of those. You know, if they're different sizes and not really aligned, then it just kind of doesn't look as professional in the end. And then relate your company to the graphics should relate to your company using good balance. You can image trace or use drawn, or they can be hand drawn using shapes, pencil or the pen, and try to be creative with your shapes that are enclosing your logo, not just a circle or a square. So, you know, as we're talking about those logos, you know, try to think about them having like an implied shape around them. Those will, I think, make it a little easier to produce. All right, so that's artboard 1 and 2. Your third artboard is what we're going to call our press setup. All right, just like we did with our trading cards, we have to get this to the printer, or our print and cut prepared correctly. All right, so here's where we're going to start getting into some kind of new material today for this. All right, and I will check that you have this kind of set up, which, you know, right now, even if you don't have your logos done, I think you can get your artboard set up and that you would have your planning, then your 3 logos, and now we're going to make this third one, which is going to be the one that's going to be used to cut from, all right? So if I select my artboard tool, I can see here that it's actually 5 by 5. So I'm going to, I think in the directions here, yes, I do want you to make it 6 by 6. All right, so I'm just going to, after I made that third artboard, and here's where if you're not following along, please let me know so that I can not speed past you and help you get to this point. All right, so we have 3 artboards. This third one is 6 by 6. All right, so now that we have our artboards created, and if you haven't already, save your document as your last name, company logo. All right, so what we're going to do now is to make our custom swatches. So what I'd like everybody to do, you probably don't have anything in this third artboard, which is fine. Let's make one box, Yaskar. 6 by 6. All right. So we're going to start just by making a square, or our outer box, right? Actually, you know what? In our specs, all right, I did want this cutting box to be 5.75 by 5.75. So let's get that exact in here. All right, because we want to maximize the sticker size. So if I make this square, and then I go up to my properties for my W and H, and I know that it's kind of annoying, you can't just click in one thing in here, but if you double click, it should highlight all in blue. So it makes it a little easier to type in. So I'm going to make this one 5.5 by 5.5. So this is the box within my artboard. And let's start by making it black stroke, no fill.
What was the size that it was the box?
5.75 by 5.75. So we have a 6-inch artboard. That's the document size, and within there is our 5.75 by 5.75 rectangle square, because it is equal on both sides. All right, and it's got a black stroke, no fill. The box that we just created is going to be, when we send it to the print and cut, is going to cut through the paper. So when we have it on a big, because the paper in that printer is on a roll. So in order to get it, so you just have individual stickers that are at that size, we're going to make this box. All right. So we need to name the swatch accordingly so that it knows what, it's kind of programmed correctly. So I'd like everybody to go to Windows and then Swatches. And you should get a palette that looks like this come up. All right, it's got all of our colors in there. All right. Anybody need help getting there? Again, Window, Swatches. Now what I'm going to do, make sure that your stroke color is in the front. So, and the reason I'm saying that is because what we're going to do next is in the Swatches palette, we're going to click the More options and say New Swatch. Now, if your fill color is in the front like this, and you try to do it, that new swatch is grayed out. So you have to make sure that your stroke color is kind of in the foreground on the bottom of your toolbar. And now if I say New Swatch, it allows me to do that. All right, so it's very specific here, the naming of this. All right, so as we're looking here, it's going to be called Perf Cut Contour. All right, so I'll do my best to get this as large as possible, or actually, how about if I do this? The spelling on this, all right? And I'll leave this up for a minute. Capitalization is also very important, all right? So it has to be capital P-E-R-F, capital C-U-T, capital C-O-N-T-O-U-R. That is the name of this this cutting profile that's going to go through the paper. Charlie?
It's all in caps?
Is it all in caps here? So the name of this swatch for this cutting line on the outside is Perf Cut Contour, and we have to make sure that the color type is spot color. All right? So that is going to be our outer cut. All right. Now our inner cut, so I'm just going to press OK to that. I'm just going to make a circle now, but we're going to have to work with your shapes. We'll use the shape builder to kind of make an outline around it. But I want to set up your swatch color right now. So we're going to do the same thing. This would kind of just be the inside one. All right. But we're going to go make a new swatch, same thing. And this one is just called cut contour. So just take out the perf that we had before. Our color mode or type again is spot color again. So where'd my notepad go? Here we go. So this one, the second name is basically the same, but without the perf. All right. So like with something like this, all right, and what we're going to do eventually also, maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow when we get closer to your designs being done, we're going to do something what's called offsetting a path. Because right now we have this shape. Like I would want my line to go all the way around this area, this D, right? So like how would I do that? I mean, I guess I can make a square or something like that, but we really wanted to follow the outline of it. So what I'll probably do, and I'll kind of work with you all tomorrow on this, maybe more on an individual basis, but if I wanted this line around there, I'm going to make a copy of this, and I'll just kind of give you a preview of what we'll do. I always want to, in order to, actually I don't know if this text is editable. It might not be right now. Oh yeah, it is. So whenever we're kind of turning text into a shape, we do type and then create outlines. All right. Now this is not editable text, but I can start working with it to like use the shape builder tool, which let's see. Yeah, let's see if this works here. So we're going to say object, path, offset path. So it kind of looks like a little bit of like jumbling of sorts, but now what we can do, this is actually okay. Now I'll take my shape builder tool, I'll combine all this together. So all these things we've been learning, they kind of add, and they do have their place for certain purposes. So not only making complex shapes for your logos, but I can also use the shape builder. So now we would have this kind of all combined as one. Don't really need that. And then I can just take my thing here and have no fill, but a stroke. And then I can just kind of delete some of this other stuff on the inside, and hopefully you'll see what I'm going to do here. But now, if I take this and put it around my logo, look at how it's going to cut my sticker now. All right, so this is going to be my cut line, which now all I would have to do is go into here and change my swatch of my my stroke, and now it's going to cut around that shape. All right, and I think that would make a pretty cool sticker. So if this was my design, then I would kind of just take that, and I can just copy and paste this into here. I got some extra stuff over here on the side that I'll kind of eliminate, but hopefully you get the idea there, right? So this outer box is going to punch through the paper. This inside box is just going to kind of peel back, all right, and allow us to pull that sticker out. So I'll help you if you do need help when you get to your final design to make that offset path, but that's basically what we're going to be doing. Because if we were just to take this shape, and this is kind of something, another reason why I want to show you what we're doing that, because maybe you could say, all right, you know, I don't need to go through that process. I can just take this and like scale it and make it bigger. But when you do that, it's not proportional. So like this would go around there, and it just wouldn't line up in the different places. Even just with this letter D. I don't think, see how like it's not going to cut around it proportionally? It would kind of go into it at certain places. So that's why doing that offset path is going to kind of make that line go proportionally around it, So in this case, we have a nice cut line going around it. All right, so that's the process of creating our 3 artboards, making our swatch colors, and a little bit about making that offset path. All right, what I would like to see, final step here today, I just want to go in your swatches, and let's select all unused and then trash them. Let's clean up your palettes a little bit. So when I come around, I should be able to see that everybody has the perf cut contour as the outer box, and that's what I'd like you to do, is just select your outer box, make sure that's selected, and then select your circle, and that should be your cut contour. And then don't forget to save.